for part two.
Ever. But I appreciate as far as the relationship, because I can just say as far as with my mom, and I love my mom, love my mom. I give her the utmost respect. But the conversations that I have or that we have with you being a young adult, I cannot say it was as free
Right.
when I was 21 years old. And not saying that my mom would not answer the question.
Right.
I just believe that we're in a different time.
Absolutely.
And we talked about that before on another show, that we're in a different time when it comes to young people. It's kind of like, okay, this is what it is. Head on. I need to tell you exactly how I'm feeling. And I had feelings, but it's like, okay, mom, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not gonna tell you all of them. I'm just gonna tell you, just as a little bit. So we're in a different time. But we do appreciate you all actually coming to us. And if I know, I'm gonna give you the answer. What I don't know, google.com.
Oh yeah, I agree. I definitely want that open relationship. I think with Marcello, when he would come to me and tell me things, I think some of his hesitation is because I'm so protective of him. So like if someone would hurt him or do something, my reaction would be like, who did it? No matter if he was 2 or 22, my reaction is always the same. So even like in his relationship, I was like, I don't want you to get hurt and do this, but like he said, he had to figure out things for himself, but we kept, that open dialogue. And so I wanted to know like, what's going on? How do you feel? How do you feel today? Just because I naturally have that protective nature, and even though Jazzy, you and Marcello, you guys are going to go through the same things we went through and more, different things. Yeah, it's just natural to want to like be there to make sure that you make the right decision, you don't get hurt. Absolutely. But at the same time, be a sounding board and be someone that you can bounce things off of, because even out of your friends, we're always going to give you the right advice, the best advice, because we always have your best interest at heart. But having that open relationship, I think, as your child is getting older, is the best thing that you can do, even when you don't agree. Because my thing is like, I don't care what happens, I don't care what you do. It doesn't matter the magnitude it is. I still want you to be able to come to me, because I'm still going to be there for you. Yes. And I think that I think that's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, what about you all when it comes to the shifting of like responsibilities as a young adult? So, as far as with you being, when we were children and teens, we took care of everything. Made sure you all have clothes. We provided your needs, what you want. If God blessed us with it, we gave you as much as we could. Made sure you all had meals, kept a shelter and over your head or whatever. So now that you all are transitioning, even though both of you all are in school, it's still like a shifting of responsibilities, because now, you both, you've worked jobs, you work jobs in the summer, you're doing interns, and now you're making like your own money or whatever. How has that been? Has that been a transition for you all? Not saying that you out there paying mortgages and y'all paying car notes, not saying that, but I know as far as things have kind of like shifted, whereas
financial,
yes, even like the clothes you all may want or whatever. How has that been, or what is that as far as with you all? What has been the shifting of responsibilities for you all?
Okay, you want to go first, the summary?
Yeah, I can. So the shift in responsibility. Well, I know it started when I first came to college, because I know I had to be a lot more responsible than I was in high school, because you don't have anyone waking you up every morning telling you got to go to class. Man. You sort of just got to you sort of just got to get up yourself and go and know what you have to do. And yeah, now that we have jobs, we sort of have to, in our own places, we sort of have to keep up with that because I know I'm paying that off by working every weekend. So it's a lot. It is a lot. But I feel like college is a good way to ease us into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, you know, coming right out of high school, you're still getting the hang of like, oh, you know, you don't have anyone to wake you up, tell you what to do all the time. You sort of just gotta learn for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I love the transition. I mean, it's a struggle sometimes because I'm like, girl, you cannot eat out today. No, you need to cook. I'm like, oh my God, this takes effort. Like every little thing, like Chilla was saying, nobody's there to like wake you up. Like, no, you have to get up. You have to go to work on time. You have to go to class on time. This is all on you now. Like, these decisions that you make, they're on you and they're going to determine how your life is going to be. So cry sometimes, but you gotta keep going. And I love it. Like I said, it's a struggle sometimes, but I find it beautiful because I know eventually I am gonna be on my own. And like this process, like it's gonna go up and down, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, you guys are like, I always call it the honeymoon phase because you're not babies, teenagers, you're young adults, but college, like Marcella said, is a good way to transition it because you guys are waking yourselves up and things like that, but you still have some structure with classes and things like that. We're never going to let you guys go hungry.
Right.
Marcella doesn't even know this. Like, I check his bank account every day and the Holy Spirit has to, I promise you, I would probably cash app him or Zelle him daily. I would. But Mitchell and the Holy Spirit be like, Irene, we will figure it out. We'll figure it out. You know? And I know that
I'm sorry I was just gonna say, to piggyback off of that, I know sometimes we do I know for sure I'd be struggling. And I'd be looking at it as like me trying to be responsible and saying, oh, I don't need it, I'll figure it out.
Yes, same.
But I know sometimes we actually do need the help, and it's not bad to ask, but I don't know. I'm just not the type of person to ask.
No, Marcello, he asked at the craziest times. He'd be like, I'm in the store right now. I'm next. I'm about to step out. And I'm like, oh my God. So
right. I only ask when I'm in like an actual need. If I can figure it out, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm like, he already know I'm gonna go crazy. And one time I was at work, I was calling him, Mitchell, you gotta cash out Marcello some money right now. He was like, Irene, calm down. You know.
Yeah, Jazzy is she's the same way, but with hers, we're gonna say, hey Jazzy, are you coming home? You know, as far as next week, yes, I'm coming home. And the same thing, you know, I can see her account. And I'm like, do you want me to pay for your ticket? Oh, thank you so much, Mom. Like, all you have to do is just say, hey, Mom, can you pay for the ticket? Hey, Mom, can you pay for the ticket coming back? Like that. She'd be like, oh, yes, thank you so much. It's like, don't be down there struggling and not say anything. Say something. But I do appreciate the fact. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jazzy.
I was going to say, sometimes like during this process, I don't always want to ask.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, okay, you'll figure it out. Like, if that means I'm not eating out this weekend, okay. It's like, I don't know. Yeah. I balance out things like, okay, I'll sacrifice this to do this.
Yeah.
But I don't mind me using cash.
Yeah. And it's like, I think I try to go overboard when it comes to like, okay, I know she's not going to ask. So when it's time to go grocery shopping for her down there, I'm like, you sure you don't need this? You sure you don't need that?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Mom, I'm good. You sure you don't need? No. You sure you don't want to get 2 more cases of water? No, Mom, I'm good. It's like, I want to make sure that you don't have everything you need. And you don't have to ask anybody else. I want to make sure that you got everything.
I get it. And I think that I mean, same way when you guys were little,
Yeah.
it's the same way how we are now. Like, we don't want you guys to be without, you know, we don't. I remember when my brother lived here and I was so busy and I forgot to pack Marcello's snack when he was in elementary. And I called my brother and I was like, oh my God, I forgot to pack Marcello's snack. And he was like, I think he's gonna be fine. And we got into a full-blown argument. And so my brother I think he went to McDonald's instead of just getting something out, and took it up to his school. He was like, are you happy now? And I was like, yes, because in my mind, I'm like, I don't want him to be the only one without a snack. I don't want everyone eating cookies and he can't eat. I didn't tell my brother to go to McDonald's, but he did. But it's like, even that's how I am now when I'm like, do you need anything? Do you need anything? Do you need anything? Because even though he's 22, I still see a little kid. I'm like, I don't want you to be without. I don't want you to, you know, you need food. I want to make sure you have it. You need gas in your car. I want to make sure you have it. Because the last thing I want you to be is struggling and hungry, and you don't have to if we have it. So, but I understand you and Marcello, you and Jazzy's mindset of trying to figure it out, because that's what you're supposed to do. You know, you're supposed to be growing and maturing and trying to figure it out. Because like you said, Jazzy, it is a beautiful thing. Getting older it's getting older, but going to different phases in your life can be beautiful. And becoming an adult and stepping into adulthood is beautiful, but it does have those responsibilities. And you guys are in the honeymoon stage because you're becoming adults, you're butterflies, just spreading your wings. But you have your families here and your parents here that can still help you while you learn how to fly. You guys aren't really just out there, you know, trying to figure it out with no help. You're trying to figure it out, but we have your backs while you're trying to figure it out.
Another thing I wanted to add to that was like, I know time when we will be in need. Well, I know this is for me at least, because I'm grateful for a lot I have, and I don't want to make it seem like, you know, I'm greedy or anything, because I know I'm happy with like a lot of the stuff that I have. And I'm just like, you know, I can figure something out. I don't need to ask him for it. I'm grateful. I can figure it out some type of way. So it's just the idea of not wanting to be too greedy. Well, at least that's how I look at it. I know I don't want to.
I know. Yeah, Marcello, he has a lot, y'all. He's extremely spoiled. He has a lot. But I appreciate the fact that you appreciate what you have. That makes me happy.
Now, let me ask you all this, or rather, let's talk about this in regards to the whole process of when you all are at school. You know, you all are doing y'all. Marcello doing Marcello, Jazzy doing Jazzy. There's no rules, there's no regulations. The rules and the regulations that are there, you all have made up those rules. You all have set up your own boundaries as far as with yourself, with your roommates, you know, whatever. And it's kind of like whatever you all say, that goes. Then you got to come home for the summer. You come home for Christmas, or you come home for Thanksgiving or spring break. How is that? Because again, you're adults, but now you're coming back with mama and daddy. How is that?
Okay.
Y'all don't like it. No, joking.
I'm gonna be honest.
Look, everybody don't answer at once.
It's different. Like, it's not too much different because it's home. But I would say it's different because make sure I say this the right way. Okay,
you know what?
When I'm here, I'm in my own space. Any noise that's bothering me, any irritation, I can shut it down like that. At home, it's different because I got my mama, I got James, I got my dad and Joey. And I'm like, this is too much. This is too much. So it's definitely a shift because you go from being in your own space to back with all these people in this one space. And I feel like also that goes back to like dishes, like everything, lights, all that. Responsibilities. It's a shift. It's different where you're you're taking care of responsibilities at your pace versus having to take care of responsibilities at somebody else's pace.
That's
like
true.
my mom would be like, okay, you know, you need to do them dishes. And I'm like, back at home, I could have waited this long. Or whatever the case is. Or with Joey, like, that's another responsibility. Like, I have to take him out versus being here. That's not a responsibility that I have. So it's a shift, but like, it's nothing that I'm not used to because I was at home before I came to college.
Yeah.
So, and then also those like mini breaks that we have, like winter break, summer break, all that. But yeah, it's a shift, but it's nothing that I can't readjust to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way as Jazzy, a little bit ish, because when it comes to like chores and stuff, when you're at school or whatever, you can go at your own pace or whatever you want to do. But a thing I know that I do is because since I was brought up a certain way, I like to take some rules that we had from our house down here to college. And I try to have my roommates try to at least abide by them a little bit, just so we have some sanity in the house.
Yes, that's good. That's
good.
Yeah.
But when it comes to chores, I know that's completely different.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's like even with you saying that, Marcello, just thinking about as far as with Jazzy, you know, she may talk about, you know, when she come home, the dishes. Because I do say, hey, I cook. You all do the dishes. That's how it's gonna go. But even with her being at school, some things like that irritates her. When people let dishes just sit there in the sink and they dirty and they nasty and you didn't clean behind yourself. And I'm like,
right.
Oh, that's me. Oh my God. Y'all didn't, who that's this plate? Who plate is this? Who cup is this? You don't have maids, clean behind yourself. Now you all are taking that same mentality, you know, that the things that we have instilled in you all don't want to have dirty rooms and nasty bathrooms and your living room a mess. And if your roommates are nasty, you looking like y'all nasty. So it's like you all know the difference or whatever. So I believe it goes back to kind of like setting standards. Standards have been set at home. You can't help but to take that wherever you go.
Right.
I agree.
That's why I feel like. Oh no, you can go ahead.
I was gonna add to that, like so at our house, my mom is like, after you cook or you're in the kitchen, you need to clean up behind yourself. Sweep the floor, clean up behind yourself. When I moved into this apartment, my roommates, they were like, so should we share like chores for the kitchen? And I'm like, y'all don't think it's automatic to clean up behind yourself after you cook? So it's like those certain things too. I do agree I took on. And like Chella was saying, you kind of like put those rules into place at your own home here. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. The transition for me when I come home it's not really too different. It's just you sort of got to get back into the routine of things.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it.
Learning it better.
Look, get back into the routine of things. So I do want to add this. You was about to say something, right?
No.
Okay. So I want to talk a little bit as far as about relationship change, the changing of the relationship. And I'm going to speak for me, and I want, of course, Irene and you all to share where you all think that change took place as far as your relationship with us, going from being teens to adults. So I'm going to give you an example. Mine took place as far as with Jazzy when she went to school. So her freshman year, yes, of course, I was sad she was gone. It was her and I here, two females, and I was only one in the house. I'm here with these dudes. It's like, oh my God, what is that noise? What are you all doing? So Jazzy did add the balance, or whatever. She was my cook. She helped me cook. She helped me clean. So that was missed. But when she came home, it was kind of like, oh, you're back at home. You need to come home during summer break. You need to come home through Thanksgiving break. Christmas break? Why you want to go with your friends to spring break? You need to spend spring break with us. That was like my attitude or whatever. Then, of course, the pandemic hit. Jazzy didn't go to campus her sophomore year, but then she went back junior year. Now she's in an apartment that we're paying for rent every single month, even in June and July as well. So Jazzy came to us at the beginning of the year, and she's like, oh, I'm going to back up. When Jazzy was a freshman, every holiday, Labor Day, Columbus Day, Jazzy, you coming home? Jazzy, you coming home? I think Jazzy came home at least once a month. But once she went back for her junior year, I stopped asking. She had to tell me, oh, Mom, I'm coming home this day. Mom, I'm coming home that day. I was cool all the way up to the summer. When Jasmine said, Mama, I'm going to stay here and work. Why? I need you to come home. Why do I need to come home? You can work here. But Mom, I want to work here. But you can work here in Forest Park. I had a serious problem with that. And I'm like, no, you should be here. And then she finally said, well, what's the real reason? Because I want you to. I just have to be honest. I want you home. I want you here with us. And then I had to think about it. What's going to happen when she gets married? What's going to happen when she moves out on her own and she has her own apartment? I'm going to be saying, leave your apartment, leave your condo, leave your townhouse, and come over here with us for the summer. So I believe right there was a shift and a change right there for me. A change that I really had no control over, but I actually had to embrace that change.
Yeah.
What about you, Valerie?
Yeah, it was definitely junior year because freshman year, he stayed in the dorm and I was happy. And then sophomore year, he stayed in the dorm and then I was happy, but COVID hit and they left and he came back and I was happy because he was there. But then, when he started being more adamant about he wanted to live in an apartment, Mitchell was fine, because he's just a man. He's a man.
Yeah.
But for me, I still saw a baby. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I don't know. So I had to really pray about it and really get it settled that he was ready. So I think that's for me when I had to really just listen to him and he was like, this is what I want to do. And then I had to trust him.
Yes.
And he knows that first apartment I went to, I was like, what is this? What's that? What's going on? I don't know. I had to pray. And I always leave him with holy oil.
Right.
I'm gonna need you to pray. I'm gonna need you to put this oil. I don't know what these people are doing. I could be a little bit racist. So I'm like, do these people bathe? I'm like, do they bathe? Do they steal? Hide your stuff? Like I'm going through all this. Like Marcella, you have nice stuff. I don't, and it was almost like the way he looked at me was like, I got this. Like I got it. I can do it. And I had to trust him. Like, okay. And that's for me, that's when I had to let go that first apartment because I really didn't know how I felt. Because my thing was always like safety. Like, are they gonna steal from him? Are they gonna inspire? Get like all this stuff that you pray and you cover them. But I just because Marcello is a good guy. He's a genuinely good person, good-hearted. And I was like, I don't want people taking advantage of you. I don't want them to take your money. I mean, I've been saying the same stuff to him since he was 5, right?
Yeah.
But now he's older, and then it was always, I don't want nothing to happen to you.
Yeah.
When he was on campus, the freshman and sophomore year, I felt better. I'm like, well, he's on campus. He's in a dorm. So for me, the transition happened the same when just moving into an apartment. And now, we've been doing this for a while. I feel a little bit better. A little bit better. And he's proven to be, responsible and, honest, doing what he's supposed to do and things like that. So
yes.
I get it. I think that's when I really had to just kind of step back and hear what he was saying and take into consideration, when he was like, please let me move off campus, and I just was like, okay, And I think because he kind of stood up for himself and wanted something he wanted to do, then I just was like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So Jazzy and Marcello, how did you guys feel about that moving off campus? Is that, did it make you feel like you were growing up just a little bit more rather than being in the dorm? Because both of you guys only wanted a dorm for like a few years, then y'all wanted to move off campus. What kind of prompted that?
Yeah.
For me, I think a sense of independence, like being able to cook for myself, living with new people, experiencing something new versus like something that was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Living in the dorm, you get food made for you all the time. It's seclusive, like everything is just similar to home, but actually moving into an apartment, like you have to take care of things on your own. You have to put more effort into like your living arrangements versus living in a dorm. And I was also gonna say like the shift for me relating to what you asked, was awesome this summer. And I remember you was just coming up with everything just for me to stay home. You were like, okay, but nobody's gonna be there. I'm like, Steph's gonna be here, one of my old roommates. Okay, but what about a job? I can get a job here, Mom. Okay, but what about rent? It still has to get paid like either way, Mom. So, and then it was a point you were like, no. I was like, did you even ask God, Mom? Or are you just saying no? Just to say no.
She went deep on me. Did you ask God? What?
But the reason I wanted that is because once again, like when you come home for the summer, it's a sense of comfort. And I knew that I wanted to grow more. And I knew that being in an apartment on my own was going to force me to grow in different ways. It was going to force me to communicate with people that I typically wouldn't on a regular. So, yeah. And then like having the first time of experiencing a 9-to-5 job, I'm like, oh my God, this is adulting. No. But I loved it. And I loved my job. So it was needed. And I was
Join us next time for part 2.
Because you was like, you need to have a plan. I'm like, okay, I'll come up with a plan. But are you going to say yes?
Well, living off campus for me, the idea of like having your own like room, because when you're in a dorm, you normally get like a roommate or something. But when you have your own house or apartment, you get your own room, and then you get to choose who you want to live with. It's not like it's randomly picked by whoever and however they pick it with the school, but it's your choice on what you want to do, who you want to live with, how you want to go about living, because it's you're paying for it. You can do whatever you want there. But if you break something, you got to pay for it. That's the only thing. But yeah, it's the idea of just you being able to do you.
Yeah.
Wow, we got big kids now.
Look.
But Kirana, I'm very, very, very proud of you both and excited about the future and what God is going to do through both of you. Both of you guys are world changers. You were born to be world changers and to make such an amazing impact on this world. And I just can't wait to witness it. Do you have some more quotes, Kiran, that you wanted to I don't have any more questions.
Actually, I don't have any more quotes, but I do want to ask them our signature questions.
Okay.
Because you all are guests. Yes, you all are our babies, but you're still guests and you're adults now, right? But we do have signature questions that we ask all of our guests when they come onto our podcast. And of course, I can't pull it up now, right?
Well, our signature questions?
Yes, you have them.
Yeah. So both of you guys can answer this. So our signature questions we have 2. The first one is, when it comes to friendships, what are green flags when it comes to friends? How do you know someone is going to be a good friend? to you? So what are the green flags that you look for in knowing you can be friends with someone?
Yes.
Well, a green flag for me is someone that practically treats you like family. They'll pretty much go out of their way to do whatever for you. They got your back in the worst of situations.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, they treat you like family. They will treat you as if you were their brother or sister.
Oh, that's good.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
I agree. For me, I would definitely say honesty and somebody that holds me accountable.
Mhm.
And I also feel like having somebody who I know provides support. That's that's really big for me as far as green flags.
That's good. That's good. Now, what about a red flag or deal breaker that would cause you to end a relationship with someone?
I would say lying. I just can't. Because why are we lying? Lying and I feel like somebody who okay, lying for sure.
Mhm.
I'm gonna pay out. Can you come back to me for the second one?
You could just say lying if you want. You don't have to come up with more than one.
Well, for me, it would be, it's sort of the reverse of my original saying, but it's someone who doesn't really have your back. They plan on your downfall pretty much.
Yeah.
Don't have your best interest at heart. Just, I don't know. Just when you're around, when they're around, they bring a different kind of mood that brings you down. Doesn't really lift you up.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay. That was good. So I was gonna say somebody who just they're always down. Like they just bring the mood down. Like, no, I want to be uplifted. I mean, every day is not gonna be sunshine all the time. And you're gonna have your moments where you need to be uplifted. But when it's a person that's always negative,
Oh, yes.
a life
I'm in
sucker. I'm
agreement
like,
with that.
no.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
those are some good red and green flags that, are, things that anybody can think about. You don't want negative energy around you. And it's always good when people can treat you like family. And I think that's why, Kirana and I have been such amazing friends because we're friends, but we really are sisters. And we've always treated each other like brother with her husband and sister with her and Jazzy, like you're my niece, just really embracing, almost beyond friendship, like families. I really like you guys as answers. So that's good. Both of you guys have great discernment. That makes my heart
Yes.
discernment.
Do you all have go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, so do you guys have anything else you want to add to the conversation? Do you have any advice you want to give to other young people when it comes to, transitioning to adulthood? Do you guys have any advice?
Advice?
I'm like, I don't know. It's the process.
I don't know.
Wait, what you say, Chola?
I said I was pretty hard-headed. I don't know. I had to
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe trust the process and know that your journey is gonna be specific to you. It's a process, but you're gonna make it. And it's fun. Enjoy it. Enjoy the process. And I also wanted to add, I appreciate you guys for being amazing parents. I feel like you guys have really prepared us. Like, obviously you guys didn't predict every situation that we're encountering now, but like I feel like I'm very prepared for what's to come and like the current things I'm facing now. So I'm appreciative. Love y'all both.
Thank you. I will say this too, just a parent, be patient, be open to your children. Even when it comes to that advice, it's something else that I actually did read. You have to get to a point that you are no longer the CEO and manager, but now you're more of the consultant. So we no longer manage them. They don't need us to manage them. They need us to actually be a consultant, to be there for them.
Yeah.
When something does, happen, when a question needs to be asked and they need an answer, we need to be open for that. And I do believe that that will actually build an even tighter bond as far as with the relationship. Now, I'm not saying become best friends with your children, but be someone that they can actually come to, they can count on, that they can get sound advice, sound wisdom from. They're not gonna, be talked down to, even if they make a mistake. They made a mistake. We made mistakes. So even if they make a mistake, give them grace. Doesn't make a difference what it is. If you can't give the grace right then and there, go to prayer. Go into prayer and say, I'm gonna have to come back to you. I'm a little bit pissed right now. I mean, be honest. I'm a little bit ticked. I'm gonna have to come back to you. Be honest with them, but make sure you come back to them and give them grace.
Definitely agree with that. I absolutely agree. So
yeah.
I'm so happy that we were able to do this interview. I think that this will help those of you out there that are listening, really, when it becomes to transitioning your children from children to preteens to teens to adults. Every stage of their growing up is so different, and you have to adjust accordingly. And oftentimes teenagers are almost like the worst. Like, you try to figure out what happened to your angels when they become teenagers, but you survive teenagers.
Yes.
And they become young adults.
Yes.
You survive it and they become young adults, and then you're able to see really the fruit of your labor. And we're here to really just talk to them and just see how they survived it and how they're doing. And as you can hear from what Marcello said and from what Jazzy has said, they are adjusting well. And Kirana and I will do everything in our power to make sure that as they continue to transition, they will be the best people that God has created them to be. So Thank you guys both. We hope you guys have enjoyed this podcast.
Yes.
Until next time, besties, we love you. Bye.
Bye, besties.
Thanks for joining us today. See you next time.